What is the most powerful weapon? Fear. In this episode, we're going to talk about how to transform fear into a powerful ally. We're going to explore mindset techniques for you to stay curious and embark on that new journey to get you where you want to go. Stick with us. Hey everyone, John here. 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 Welcome to the Leaders Leading Leaders podcast. Hey everyone, John here. Welcome to the Leaders Leading Leaders podcast. In this episode, we're going to discuss how to equalize one of the most powerful weapons in the world, and that is fear. The fear of the unknown, the fear of failure, whatever fear that you have that is preventing you from getting you to where you want to go. We're going to discuss some mindset techniques in this episode to get you started to overcome some of that fear and get some momentum going so that way you can crush your goals. It reminded me when I was journaling, thinking about an outline for this podcast about situations that I was fearful of. Situations in my life I didn't know what the next step was going to be or even what the next day was going to bring. And I took myself back there to wonder, what if things would have been different? What if I would have went before I was ready? What if I would have just did it messy? What if I would have just got started? And why I didn't? And those are the techniques that I want to share with you today, because starting now, I want you to, one, identify your fears. Write them down. What are you fearful of? Maybe it's a fear of starting a new job. Maybe it's a fear of taking that first step in filling out that college application. Maybe it's a fear of changing degrees. Maybe it's a fear of telling that person close to you, that's not what I want to do. Whatever that looks like, it may be something that you've been thinking about for quite some time. I want you to jot it down. Write it down. When we write things down, that's when we have to face them. And that is the first step to overcoming our fears, to making sure that they're in our face, is to write them down, because they become real. And I didn't do that. I thought about what I was fearful of. I thought about ways to overcome, but then something else always came up, or I would numb it just to get past the thought of having to deal with it. Go to sleep, and when you wake up the next day, what happens? Or worst yet, I would blame other people. I would blame other people for me not getting an opportunity to do what I wanted to do. I would blame other people for thinking about it first, for starting that business that I wanted to start, for kicking off that podcast that I wanted to kick off, for applying for that job that I wanted, but I was too fearful to start on that resume. And I know you all out there may have some, even a little bit, of that fear. So today, let's face our fears. Write them down and let's talk through it. One of the things I want to get out is it's natural to fear. It's natural to have negative thoughts. In fact, that's what kept us alive for so long. Whenever we experienced a dangerous situation, or you touched the hot stove and you got burned, what happened? Your mind told you, don't do that again. It didn't feel very good. We got injured. Remember, don't do it again. And that saves us. But when we apply it to other things in life, it prevents us from getting to where we are going. And that's what we are here to do in the Go Be Great community, is to help others get to where they're going. But that starts with helping yourself get to where you are going, so you can impact more people, so you can use that experience to help others overcome those fears. But it is natural. It is built into our fight or flight response, that if we've experienced some negative impact if we've already gone down that road and we failed, might not want to do it again, John. And that right there is what we're going to talk about today, and how to bypass that, how to switch our mindset over to, what am I really thinking? What am I really saying? Or what really happened? It always reminds me when I was much younger and I flipped over the handlebars. I was riding my bike. We used to ride our bikes everywhere. Mom probably didn't know the length and how far we got away from the house, but we would go everywhere on our bikes. Do tricks, have a bike club, we'd meet other people. I was probably 7, 8 years old, and I still vividly remember this because I have a scar, a fake tooth, in the front of my mouth to remind me as I hit a rock, I was standing up and I fell over the handlebars. Cracked my tooth. I was young. They couldn't crown it. So they repaired it temporarily. And I had to live with that discoloration in my tooth. And it was every time I smiled, and it impacted me. It impacted the way that, I smiled. It impacted my psyche, just my overall confidence being in front of others. And I didn't ride the bike for the longest time because I was fearful that I would crack another tooth, or worse yet, I'd knock out my teeth, and then who knows what would have happened. But that impacted me, that fear of what I did, the consequences that I suffered, and the impact that it made to the fact that I didn't want to do something that I love to do. And how many times do we stop doing things that we love to do because we made a mistake, or we're fearful of the failure that we may have? And you may have never failed, but you get to the top and then you just walk away because everything has been success. Everything has gone your way. Starting that business up to a certain point, everything has gone well. Revenue is increasing. Sales are coming in, and then you walk away, or you're fearful to take your business to the next level. You're fearful to start that social media or that advertising campaign because everything is going so well. I don't know about you all out there, but I get a 3 to 4 year itch, and I'm there now, and I'm looking towards the future, figuring out what's next. And I will be very honest and transparent with you all. I'm fearful of what's next. I don't know where life will take me. It may bring on more responsibility. It may bring on more stress. It may bring on less time that I get to spend with the individuals that I love. And there's a fear there for me, and that's natural. I think one of the greatest things that we can do, and that I have found, is we embrace that fear and we allow ourselves to feel that. Because in the end, if we're in denial and we don't realize the fact that, I'm feeling this agitation, this friction in my life, something's not right. We've all been there. And that's the point where now what I've learned to do is lean in instead of back away. I want to take a quick break from our discussion today to mention a couple things. First of all, thank you for listening. Only 50% of our listeners are subscribed to our channel. Do me a favor, click on that subscribe button. It's going to allow our channel to continue to grow and give you updates whenever we get new episodes published. The second thing is our coaching program. People who want to work with me are looking to make a lasting change, level up, or get unstuck. I gave up on my dreams. I was a young parent, had to make a couple career changes. I went through some financial hardships. I had to learn how to flip my mindset and stay consistent. Our coaching programs are individualized one-on-one sessions where I will teach you a proven system and guarantee that you can reinvent yourself over and over again. If that sounds like something that interests you, head on over to thejohnespinosa.com and sign up to get more information. Now back to the show. So it's natural to immediately think a negative thought, especially if we've had a negative experience with what we want to do. But the important thing there is to allow yourself to recognize that. Recognize that little voice that is in the back of your head that's saying, John, Let's just stay here for a little bit. This is comfortable for us. We've been doing just fine. Nothing is going to harm us. You know what you're going to do. You've perfected, or you're comfortable with the process that you're in. Maybe it's the job that you have. For many years, I worked in the restaurant business, and if it wasn't for the restaurant shutting down one day, I probably still would have been in the restaurant business because I was fearful to take that next step, to get into the medical field. I'd wanted to be a doctor my whole entire life. But when, the longer things went along and the farther away that I got from that dream, the more fearful that I got that I wasn't good enough. The more fearful that I got that I wasn't meant to do big things. And that was a lie that I was telling myself. That was that little voice that was speaking to me, and I wasn't asking the question, is this the truth? What do I really think? I didn't challenge myself when those thoughts arise that you're not good enough or we shouldn't go there. Challenge yourself. What do I really think about this situation? What do I really think about going to medical school? What do I really think about getting in a training profession that I really knew nothing about? And it was one of those things that I overthought it. I had to have everything perfect. We've talked a lot about you don't need to go when everything is 100%. Lean in to that 70%, that 80%, that 90% certainty, and take a chance. Take the chance on yourself to go do what you've always wanted to do. In the end, I don't want to look back and say, I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have bet on myself to take that opportunity, even though I didn't know anything about it, to step into a role that you weren't 100% prepared for, to start that new business that you didn't have all your ducks in the row, but you felt it in your gut and you challenged yourself. And you asked the question, what do I really think? Because in our heart of hearts, in our mind, we start to play tricks with ourselves. I played a lot of tricks with myself in where I was going in life. I always explain to people I had a zigzag approach to the way that I got here today. And it's built the experience that I have to share with others, to help others get to where they're going, and to let people know that failure is an option, because I failed quite a bit. I was there, a young parent, financial trouble. It was hard. And there was a lot of things that we did to overcome that. And some mornings I woke up and I didn't quite know if we're going to make the next payment on the house, on the cars, whatever that looked like. And if I would have let fear overcome my ability to go get another job, to go challenge myself, to step out of my comfort zone, the things that I dreamt about my whole entire life, and to give up on that dream and move into an area that I didn't know where that was going to go, I wouldn't be here today talking to you. So if anything, use me as the reason. Blame me for pushing you in to asking yourself, what do I really think? A great mentor once told me, weeds grow faster than flowers. So anyone who's had a flower bed, anyone who's had a garden, understands the fact that you're constantly out there picking out the weeds. And those are the negative thoughts that we have. They come up more. They are more predominant. So we got to pick those weeds so that way the flowers, our dreams, our hopes, flourish and have all the water, the rich soil they need to bloom, to blossom, to grow. And our mindset is no different. You're going to be picking out more weeds than you probably think every day when you wake up and you hit that alarm clock and you look outside, or however you start your morning routine. It starts then. Picking out that weed of, today is going to be a tough day. I'm tired. I'm sore. It's cold outside. I got a lot going on. I got a lot of work piling up. I can't submit that resume. I can't do my personal development. I can't go exercise. I don't have time to eat right. I don't have time to invest in my business. I don't have time to invest in myself. Those are the weeds of life. Pick them up, throw them out, because they're dream killers. They will suffocate and suck all the water and the nutrients that your dreams need to grow and to blossom. So pick out those weeds. They will grow faster than the flowers. And then last but not least, I want to leave you with this thought of curiosity. As I've grown in my mindset, as I've grown in life through experience as a grandfather, as a father, as a son, a brother, an uncle, I've tried to remain curious. I carry with me this mantra of be the most interested person, not the most interesting person. Leave a conversation where you don't say anything about yourself. You ask good questions. And one of the things that I've recognized as I become more comfortable in that role is people always leave our interactions with something that makes them happy. It might be the feeling that somebody listened to them that day. It may have been something that they said and they were thinking and now it's out and they hold themselves accountable. Trying to convince somebody to do something, giving somebody advice unless they ask for it, a lot of times falls on deaf ears. Have you ever tried to change somebody that didn't want to be changed? How hard was that for you? I always try to reverse that role. And if they come up with the change, they own the change because you remain curious and ask good questions. I always think of Columbo. I had a coach who would use this analogy of Columbo. And for those young listeners out there, Google it, go on YouTube, you'll find an old episode. But Columbo was a detective. And he solved mysteries, he solved crimes by asking questions. And that image is very vivid in my mind when I get into a conversation and I start asking questions and people start talking and they start sharing. And sometimes hours will go by. Sometimes it's one of those conversations that you didn't mean to have, but it just happened. And that is because I've tried to remain curious in those situations. I've questioned myself back to, what am I really thinking? That is a form of curiosity. You can even turn that inwards and use it to overcome that fear that you may have about doing something new, about challenging yourself, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because uncomfortableness is caused by fear. So today in this episode, whatever you wrote down at the beginning, I want you to ask yourself, what am I really thinking? Dig deep, because you're only going to get out of it what you put in, but really concentrate on the fact that what we tell ourselves a lot of times aren't the cold hard facts. They're based on past experiences. It may be traumatic. It may be based off a traumatic event in our lives. That hand touching the stove when we were younger and it burning us and we still have the scars. Me flipping over that bike and having 2 crowns, that I remember that event, that you remember, that's ingrained. So some of us may have to work a little bit harder when we ask ourselves, what am I really thinking? Where is this really coming from? But in the end, that's going to help us overcome our fears and get us going and realize that those negative thoughts, they're naturally going to come first. But pick those negative thoughts and throw them out, just like the weeds in our garden, and allow those dreams to blossom and bloom. I hope this helped somebody today. I believe in you. Go be great. We'll talk to everyone later. Bye-bye. If you like what you're hearing, do us a favor. Click on that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up or leave a comment. That lets us know that what we are putting out benefits you. If you want additional information or resources or learn how to work with me, head on over to thejohnespinosa.com, because when we become better versions of ourselves, it helps us get others to where they're going. Go be great. Talk to everyone later.